I've taken it upon myself to go and watch Linus's Steam Machine review myself. Something is telling me, yo Pat, yo A, I need to go and watch this myself, because I spoke about the Linus tech review because I heard other people say that Linus's tech review bashed the Steam Machine. That's what I heard, right? And this year, 2026, before the year 2026, I made some mistakes trying to listen to other people. So I'm gonna listen to Linus's tech review of the Steam Machine myself, and I'm gonna have my own thoughts about it.
Valve's Steam Machine is probably the most anticipated gaming PC of all time. I would argue, alongside the Steam Deck, one of the most important. But that doesn't mean that our last 2 weeks with it have been all good. There are the highlights, like the unbelievably polished experience of SteamOS, not to mention perfect integration with your home media setup. But there's also been the lower lights, performance in the latest titles being a big one, alongside some hard truths. It cost more than we hoped, and Valve confirmed they feel the same way. But if you can stomach the upfront investment, Valve's GameCube is yet another massive step on their now decade-plus journey of saving gamers from the closed ecosystems that demand pricey subscription.
This is something that I said. I said that this is about the future. This is about who stepped into that door first, who broke the mold, who thought outside the box first, who showed their product first and took the risk first. That's what I meant with the Steam Machine. It seems like me and Linus are on the same wavelength, but we'll see.
And it is hands down the best solution that I've ever seen to solving the inconvenience of PC gaming on the couch. It's not the biggest or the baddest, but that 1-2 punch is why the Steam Machine is so damn exciting. It combines the strengths of PC gaming with the conveniences of console gaming, and all in a nearly silent cube that's about half the size of a real console.
See, I didn't know that this was silent. My PC, if I did not have this filter that blocks out a certain frequency of noise, y'all would be hearing my PC right now. Y'all would just be hearing it blowing. It's very powerful. It gets hot because it's doing a bunch of things at the same time. A PC that's silent and that's mid-level powerful, that's gotta be a plus. A PC that's silent, period, you can't hear it, and it's that small, I'm telling you, this thing has a niche in the market. I'm telling you. People don't see it because they see popular people dogging it already, because everybody don't have a mind of their own. They're sheep. But I just need you to use your imagination, and I think Linus is onto the same thing that I was on, and I don't have it. He got it. He got it, and I imagined what this thing was gonna be. I just came up with my own conclusion by the. But we gonna see. Let's keep going, man. Let's go, Linus.
But with this kind of hype, can Valve possibly hope to live up to gamers' expectations? If we're being realistic, probably not. But I still love the Steam Machine for what it is today, and I'm really excited about what it means for the future of gaming. And I'm also excited, okay, but actually this time, to tell you about this companion product from our sponsor, Dbrand. Their robot sent over this companion cube case for the Steam Machine. We'll look at it in a bit more detail later, but pre-orders are live now.
Wait. That's a Steam Machine case? Wait. I know this is like not my ad, this is Linus's ad, but he's adding for Steam Machine covers. Look at this, yo. What the That's crazy. The Steam Machine got some product for it. It's gonna be selling a lot. Like, as far as design for the cribs and how it fits in your room, I think I said this per my last video. I didn't know that they was going that crazy. I didn't know that they was doing that level of a case for a Steam Machine. That's crazy. That's very unexpected.
So go to shortlinus.com to reserve yours. I mean, even if you don't want a Steam Machine, this thing would look so good on your shelf. Back to the Steam Machine though.
I need this for B-roll. We're on a tight schedule, baby.
Okay, that makes sense. We unboxed and explored the setup of the Steam Machine over on Short Circuit this morning, and we gave our in-depth thoughts on the controller last month. So we're gonna be laser focused on the experience of the Steam Machine itself. Right out of the gate, if you're a Steam Deck or a big picture user, you're gonna feel right at home. The Steam Machine comes with SteamOS pre-installed, Valve's Linux-based operating system that they've spent over 10 years optimizing for gaming. Why did it take so long? Well, because most games still don't support Linux natively. But thanks to Proton,
I just thought of something. Don't be surprised if I buy one of these. Don't be surprised if I buy one of these. I'm gonna tell you why. I have another computer in the house, and it's not powerful. It's actually a piece of shit. This very small cube can literally replace that whole computer. All I gotta do is put a monitor in there and plug it in. It's gonna replace it. 100%. People, you're gonna walk in the room, you're just gonna see a small cube and a monitor. You're like, hold on, what the hell is going on here? Where's the big old box at the bottom? Nah, I don't need no big old box. Actually, I got my other account over there, and you know, we're gonna use that to play Gears of War. We're gonna use that to run Claude. I want Claude to run this thing real quick while I'm over there. Oh, Claude is running over there in the other room. Bet. Let me go over here, see what's going on. Not use so much of the resource that my PCR natively has. Like, things can happen with this Steam Machine. You can run a whole office with a bunch of Steam Machines in there. You can run an office. Psh, this is crazy.
Installation layer that allows Windows games to run on Linux. We found that almost any game
I
made
need
for
y'all to
Windows
open your
runs
mind.
surprisingly well on SteamOS. No command line, no driver conflicts, just press the button and play your game. It's been SteamOS. No command line, no driver conflicts, just press Proton, a translation layer that allows Windows games to run on Linux. We found that almost any game made for Windows runs surprisingly well on SteamOS. No command line, no driver conflicts, just press the button and play your game. It's been one of the Steam Deck's greatest strengths, and that remains true here. And even if somehow you don't like SteamOS, well, great news. Valve takes a very open approach to their hardware. Or should I say, your hardware, you know? The way it should be. So the Steam Machine allows you to install any OS you want, even Windows. It's just that if you did so, you would lose out on some of its best features, like a personal favorite of mine, the ability to suspend your software and resume at the push of a button, just like a console. Seriously, thank you, Valve. Okay, we did find that there were some times that resuming
I didn't know that consoles had this problem.
a game would take
I didn't know that y'all had this problem. Oh, I didn't know. I haven't had a console in so long, or I haven't played a console consistently in so long. My PS5 is literally collecting dust. I haven't thought about an Xbox since the Xbox One. I didn't know y'all had that issue. PC, I guess we just, whatever. We started. I don't even think we have that feature, to be honest. I didn't even know that was a thing. You start exactly where you left off, like if you press start. That's kind of wild. Is that what he's saying? Is that what y'all do in the consoles? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if I post this clip on TikTok, Instagram. Let me know, man. I didn't know y'all do this.
a little longer than we'd like, but most of the time it was really quick. I'm talking like 5 seconds, which is a huge edge over booting up your PC, loading your launcher, and starting a game. We did notice that sometimes the SteamOS UI would become laggy while a game is suspended, but realistically, we're dealing with pre-release software here, and with how much Valve has refined SteamOS on the deck over the last few years, which is much less powerful hardware, I can say confidently that they're gonna get that sorted. The other big one for me is HDMI CEC. It doesn't have the best marketing behind it, and it doesn't have a sexy name. In fact, most people don't even really think about CEC, because when it's working properly, you literally aren't supposed to even notice it. But it is hugely important to the living room experience, especially if you have multiple devices. CEC, if you're not familiar, is a protocol that's built into the HDMI standard that allows your various media devices to communicate with and even control each other without running any additional cables. The most common uses for it are allowing your soundbar volume to be controlled by your TV remote, or having your Android media box and AV receiver power each other on and off in sync. Now, most PCs straight up do not support it. This is both a hardware and a software problem, and there's no hint of a solution on the horizon. So achieving any kind of seamless operation involves like janky IR receiver boxes and/or complicated home theater automations. Well, Valve hated that, so they built their own software and custom motherboard for the Steam Machine that, from our experience, just plain works. You press the Steam controller button, it turns on everything, selects the right inputs, and bingo bango bongo, seconds later you are gaming exactly where you left off. But there's more
convenience.
to a good.
Listen, convenience is king. Convenience is king. That is what Steam is doing. That is what the Steam Machine is doing. Convenience is king. Remember I said this, y'all. While y'all are worried about if 007 First Light is going to play at 60 frames per second, while y'all worried about if Grand Theft Auto is going to be able to play on the Steam Machine, while y'all worried about if this game is going to play at high res on this machine is coming with gifts upon gifts. And I know I said I wasn't gonna buy it in one of the comments under my videos, one of my videos on TikTok or Instagram, but I'm like, I might just join the army of people that's like, oh, y'all don't see the cool shit with this? Okay, I'm gonna copy it. I don't care if you don't like it. And I'm gonna give me a nice case just like that right there. I'm gonna give me a nice case. And that's what we doing. Not that case, but a different case. We gotta, I don't know, we gotta make a Halo case to disguise the Steam Machine as the Halo robot, the one from Halo 3. Or is it Halo 4? One of those.
Gaming machine than just living room integration, as Microsoft so painfully learned.
Go to Internet Explorer. Oh, nice.
And the Steam Machine's raw gaming hotspot leaves a fair bit to be desired, unfortunately.
My memory just went to Cortana. Xbox's Cortana was so just horrible. Like, it tried to be Siri. It was actually the first Siri. I think Cortana was the first Siri. Cortana was bested by Siri. Siri had the game for a while. Alexa came through, then Alexa does its thing, but Siri and Alexa, they reign over their own market share. You see what I'm saying? People that like Amazon and people that like their products, they're gonna get that. People that like Apple and like Apple's products, they're gonna get that. But Cortana was so useless because it was our first time seeing this thing. It was my first time seeing this. And I think the first time I seen Cortana, besides Halo, was I think I had a laptop, and the laptop went to the new Windows, and Windows was like, hey, talk to Cortana. I'm like, yo, who the hell is Cortana? I'm not trying to talk to Cortana. I'm used to typing and getting to where I want to go. I don't need you to get me where I want to go. Then years later, after Cortana becomes obsolete, I learned about Siri. And I've been using Siri, and Siri is the one that I'll be like, hey Siri, blah blah blah. You see, it just woke up. And I tell it to do the time for me. I tell it to do a bunch of things for me. I tell it to turn on the alarm. Yo, turn this alarm on. All right, turn this timer on. All right, play this song. Because I set it up to be that way. You see what I'm saying? Cortana is kind of like the Steam Machine. And let me explain why I say that. Cortana came out first out the door with a different idea, right? I don't know if Siri came out before Cortana, but I heard of Cortana before I heard Siri. That's me. That's the first time I heard of Cortana. Was before Siri. It was on my laptop. It was like you could talk to it. I'm like, damn, what is this? Turn that shit off. Steam Machine is a different example of the same example. It's a different thing of the same example. This is the first time a PC console is coming out. People are denying it and saying blah, 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 blah. This is the first time we've seen this. People are trying to compare it, but it's not being comparable because there isn't a system that has done this before. They try to say so, but I'm telling you they haven't. When Cortana came out, that was the first time me personally have seen voice command happen. But we live in different times now. People accept new things now. People want to find new trends, willingly trying to find new trends, willingly trying to find new tech. They might be a content creator. Oh, nah, people are doubting the Steam Machine. Let me go get a Steam Machine, make a video on it, and then get a lot of views and change people's minds.
To be clear, it's not terrible. Valve chose a semi-custom 6-core Zen 4 CPU with 16 gigs of DDR5 memory rated to 5600 megatransfers per second, alongside a semi-custom GPU with 8 gigs of dedicated VRAM. So that's more CPU performance and a lot more RAM than the current crop of mainstream gaming consoles. But the current crop of gaming consoles is 6 years old now. And if we look closely at the specs for these chips,
that right there is a major point. It's a major point. Steam Machine might have a futuristic system. Like the system might be, this is the next level. This is the next generation. The PC console, the one that replaces your old CPU, the one that is so convenient. You put it in any room, it becomes a PC, a console, entertainment system all in one. Yeah. But look, this is the thing. When the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Project Helix come out, they're going to go crazy with the graphics cards because they could only go up with the graphics. They could only go up with the RAM. They could only go up. They want to sell items. They're preparing their customers to spend $1,200, $1,100, $1,300. I think up to $1,600, $1,700 for the premium PS6 and the premium Xbox Project Helix. That's me personally. That sounds crazy, right? But if the Steam Machine is doing this with this minimalistic idea, with this minimalistic convenient box, the Xbox and the Helix, they're not gonna go this direction. They're not. They're gonna go more space. They're gonna make the system look way cooler. And by the system being a cool looking system, that's what's gonna sell. And people are gonna be like, fuck it. We spent this much money on the PS5 or the PS6 or the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. We might as well spend an extra $400 on that. Look at the graphics. Look at this shit is going 180 frames per second. Oh shit.
they look more semi than custom, with a strong resemblance to laptop chips from 2023. Now, according to Valve, that's not a problem for most buyers. The Steam Machine should outperform approximately 70% of the gaming PCs that are out there in the wild. And if the Steam Deck is anything to go by, developers will squeeze blood from a stone optimizing for a popular hardware config like this one. But with all of that said, I still feel pretty strongly that these are not the kinds of parts that I would expect in a 4K gaming machine, even with the asterisk of FSR upscaling. But I could be wrong, right? So let's take a look at the numbers. Right out of the gate, the Linux port of Shadow of the Tomb Raider absolutely crushed Valve's target, hitting over 120 FPS at 4K. Not bad, but that isn't 8-year-old game, and sadly, the rest of our suite ended up sitting with average frame rates between 40 to 50 FPS. In fairness to Valve, some of these games were probably running at settings that are a little ambitious for the humble Steam machine, and you could absolutely turn Cyberpunk, for instance, down a little bit and get a more fluid experience, but that wasn't the case for all of them. Doom: The Dark Ages, for instance, was already cranked nearly as low as it could go. This whole...
Let me go look at this graph real quick. So, Anno 177 Pax Romana. 1% low, average, medium preset. Okay, so it hit 48, but it was expected to hit 24. Is that how it goes? Cyberpunk 2027, low 1%. Okay, so the low hit 24 and the height hit 48. It averaged 48 for Anno 177. For Cyberpunk 2077, the lows hit at 36 for ultra preset and the highs hit at 41 frame rate. Hey, listen, man. They shouldn't have. This console shouldn't have advertised 4K. They shouldn't have did that. They should have just, yo, this is what we doing. You can go 4K, but the performance is gonna go down. Alright, maybe they can't do that. Alright, they can't do that. They gotta sell their product. The guy at the marketing center has to sell the product. That's his goal. His goal is to increase profit. The truth is stranger than fiction. So telling people, yo, truthfully, this thing ain't that crazy. It does have 4K, but it's cool, but I wouldn't use it. That's not how you sell your console. You're not selling your console like that.
Nearly as low as it could go. This whole situation feels like a completely self-inflicted wound. Like if Valve had never said 4K gaming at 60 FPS, and had they instead offered a more nuanced,
this is my first time watching this.
1080p on medium 60 FPS, and had they instead offered a more nuanced, 1080p on medium details, maybe high or ultra for older titles, and in some cases, you know what, 4K upscaling looks pretty darn good. I wouldn't even have to be talking about this. But now I have to go spelunking for what the heck Valve was talking about. And it seems like, for newer titles, what they meant was low settings with FSR set as low as ultra performance, which means we are upscaling from a mere 720p base resolution all the way to 4K Ultra HD. At these settings, all right, sure, all 5 of our games did hit averages that are comfortably above 60 FPS, but at these settings, all 5 of our games also looked pretty ugly. And there's more bad news. Even with 28 ray tracing cores, RT is pretty much a non-starter on this thing. This is true both for games where it's an option, like Cyberpunk, where we saw an average of 15 FPS at 1080p Ultra, and especially true for games.
Damn, let's hear that again. Ugh.
Non-starter on this thing. This is true both for games where it's an option, like Cyberpunk, where we saw an average of 15 FPS at 1080p Ultra.
15 FPS at 1080p Ultra. Damn. Damn. That's what the Steam Machine doing. But look, Cyberpunk is a big game. It's a gigantic game, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if GTA 6 and this game share the same amount of gigs, if not Cyberpunk outsizing GTA 6. I wouldn't be surprised.
And especially true for games that force its usage, like Indiana Jones or Doom: The Dark Ages, where only one configuration we tested managed to consistently stay above 60 FPS. And that was the handheld one, right?
Yep.
Yikes. To be clear, it's not the end of the world today, but whether you love ray tracing or hate it, there will be more titles in the future that will require hardware support for it, and the Steam Machine just plain doesn't have the horses. Once again, I'd love to be proven wrong here. Valve did contact us hours before recording this to say they are aiming to patch it, but guys, it's a 7600M GPU. There is no path that I can trace that will lead to acceptable performance on this hardware, especially in light of your unqualified claims of 4K 60 FPS.
Like I said, they shouldn't have went that route, but I did understand that things had to sell. And whoever the marketing guy was, whoever was the guy that was like, yo, we're going to sell the product like this. He was scared if he thought about this that I'm talking about. He was scared to say, listen, we can't go forward with this marketing because if we say this, we're going to be fooling the fans. And people like Linus Tech Tips, people like J2 Cents, they're going to get on their platforms after we've given them early access to these machines. They're going to say the truth, and we're going to look crazy at the back end of this. Valve is making so much money. Deadlock is doing so well. The marketplace is doing so well. They don't care. They seen that issue and it was like, people gonna figure it out, use it as a computer. It's just another product for us to sell. We're gonna patch it later. We're gonna add some more features later. Who knows what they thought? But they was confident enough to put this out. And I know in the back room, somebody had to be like, yo, we got Linus Tech Tips on the list. We got J2 Cents on the list. We got all these content creators on the list that's going to get an early version of this. Actually, the version that's going to come out. And we're going to still say 4K 60 FPS as if this thing stays on this, as if it runs well on it. It doesn't run well. It can get to 4K 60 FPS with FSR, but it doesn't look good, or it doesn't hit 60 frames.
Time analysis. So any numbers we give you guys are going to be kind of rough and tumble ad hoc. We explain the methodology, by the way, of both this test and the rest in our accompanying labs article. We'll have that link down below. But anyway, in God of War Ragnarok, the base PS5, which upscales from 1440p to 4K, was chilling around 75 to 78 FPS.
That's good. 4K.
Meanwhile, in the same scene, the Steam Machine, with mostly medium settings and FSR set to quality, landed in the 60 to 63 range. This isn't the end of the world. We actually found that upscaling was hampering our performance more than we expected, and at 1440p native, we were able to break 70 FPS, even with our details turned up. But what it isn't is a win. With that said,
people want to see pretty shit. Everybody wants to see pretty shit. You want to see a pretty bitch. You want to see pretty graphics. You want to see a pretty waifu that's in the game. You want to see the pretty sunlight. You want to see the pretty sweat that's gleaming off the hero character or the villain character. People want to see pretty shit. We're not getting away with 1440p. Not no video game. We are only getting away with that type of shit watching YouTube. We're getting away with that type of shit watching streams on Twitch. They still haven't let you do 4K yet. It's a lot of data, bro.
choosing the right games and enabling variable refresh rate is going to help to mitigate some choppiness. And you can absolutely have a really solid gaming experience on this box. Also, as these things go out in the wild, I do expect Valve's Verified for Steam Machine program to incentivize developers to optimize for this hardware specifically. It's just that you got to keep your expectations in check. It's not magically going to get way faster. Coming back to good news though, the Steam Machine's download speeds are solid. We saw close to full gigabit speeds over a wire, and a little less than half of that via Wi-Fi 6E. That's partially probably thanks to Valve's 4 dedicated antennas in this box, 2 for Wi-Fi, 1 for Bluetooth, and 1 for Steam controllers. And we also saw an average power draw of just 175 watts under heavy load.
Hey, a lot of y'all need to go ahead and y'all wireless players, a lot of y'all need to go ahead and get some shit like this. Cause I don't know if this is stronger than the PS5, so maybe I'm talking too premature, but or the Xbox, but Wi-Fi wireless gaming needs an upgrade. It needs people that don't want to buy a fucking extension cord, go get their ass a staple gun and go route that shit and figure that shit out till they put it to their hard drive. Go ahead and get a 96-foot goddamn Ethernet cord and figure that shit out. This machine might be for you. I don't know. I might be wrong. Xbox, PlayStation, I have a message for you. I know you still want to do wireless gaming, okay? It's still routing, going straight to the router is still the top dog. If you want to have better wireless for your players that cannot route a goddamn cable to the damn router from their system, you need to drastically increase the wireless power of your systems. I don't know how you could do that. I don't know, but figure it out.
With a mere 66 watts for later games. That contributes to a cool, quiet experience with the Steam Machine, landing right in line with the PS5 for acoustics and averaging just 68 and 66 degrees across our CPU and GPU respectively. Good job, Valve. And good job making this such a repairable and serviceable machine. Not only can the Steam Machine be easily opened up, including the ability to upgrade both the RAM and SSD, but Valve has once again partnered with iFixit to make guides and replacement parts available.
You can upgrade the RAM and the SSD. They should have allowed the player, which I predicted. Steam is going to make its own graphics cards. I predict that. They're going to make its own graphics cards. They're going to make their own items in order to upgrade this Steam Machine. If they don't do this, if they do not do this, you see how Linus said this thing is easy to open up to upgrade the SSD and the RAM? That ace in the hole, yo, we have our own graphics cards. I don't know how they're going to do that. NVIDIA seems like they're the kings. Maybe they could partner up with NVIDIA. I don't know. Partner up with a company that makes graphic cards. I don't know. But this is the X factor for this system. If they don't do it, come on, man.
Available. Absolutely amazing. Maybe consider an LTT precision screwdriver if you ever need to make any upgrades or repairs. It's got all the bits you need and a convenient magnetic parts tray that's included in the lid, lttstore.com. Another highlight is Valve's open approach to peripherals. I mean, can you imagine Nintendo just allowing any old thing to be plugged into their precious gaming machine? Meanwhile, in Valve land, the Steam Machine played nicely with every mouse, keyboard, or headset that we plugged into it, including random Bluetooth accessories. One thing of note is that some of our
Steam had no choice but to do that feature. Steam had no choice. Hey, they can't just corner the market and isolate. They can't do the corner, then isolate the market. They're not big enough for that. They're not known in the console space for that. Apple is known or was known for that during the early days of the iPhone. That's why they made their own USB cables that you had to go buy. You couldn't use another phone and use that cable. Your phone only used iPhone cables. They was big enough to corner the market and isolate. Valve ain't big enough, or their reputation ain't known good enough in the console space to do that. It had to go this way.
Audio accessories were a little quieter than usual on the Steam Machine, even with the volume maxed, but again, this feels like one of those, don't worry, Valve's gonna fix that things. Bringing us finally to something Valve couldn't fix, the detail you've all been waiting for. You can order your Steam Machine today, and it will cost $1,050 US for the 512 gig storage version and $1,350 for the 2 terabyte. No! I think we better talk about this. Is that reasonable?
It is reasonable in this current market conditions, but it is...
You sound like you're being held hostage.
I mean, Valve was held hostage by the parts makers.
So reasonable, yes, but like, is it too high?
Yes.
And that's a tough thing. I think it's fair to say that both of those things are true.
Yes.
Based on the costs that Valve is seeing, and also based on...
I think that this product would have been, if we wasn't having all these events happening with AI, RAM shortages, I think this machine would be like $450, $500, $600 max. And I think during the era of the Xbox Series S, during the era of the PS5, when they was both $500, $600 max, I think the PS5 started out at $400. Like, this thing could have survived and possibly thrived in that time, but unfortunately, time is not playing in Valve's favor. Time has went against Valve. It was either to put out this machine now or suffer the consequences later. So they was forced to push this system out because you don't know what the future holds with AI. AI could just go and soar to the moon, to the stars. And then they would have put this system out then, and this thing would have been $2,000. No way.
Other options that are available in the market, it can be both reasonably priced and still too high.
I was really hoping that this was going to bring PC gaming to the mainstream living room, that I could pitch all my friends and be like, oh, get a Steam machine, it's so cool. But this is a premium price, even though I wouldn't say it's a premium product.
And in fairness to Valve, they did telegraph this. They were explicit when I came down there for the reveal that it was not going to be subsidized by the 30% cut that they're going to take on games, because they have no guarantee that people are actually going to run SteamOS on this or buy any games. And the PS5 is such a giant, even bigger elephant in the room than I even said before. The fact that you can still, even at the increased price, buy a PS5 for $600 US or a PS5 Pro, which is a much more powerful machine, for $900.
And then you'd still have money left over for your first year of PS Plus.
And both of those PS5s include a controller too, so that's going to cover almost another year. With that said, if you're keeping it for a long time, I mean, let's talk TCO. That's a term that not everybody's familiar with outside of like business or the data center. It's total cost of ownership. It often gets said that on the PC side, pricing of games is a huge boon compared to consoles, but you actually opened my eyes to the PlayStation Store having a lot of deals.
There was a few weeks ago where there wasn't a sale going on and people freaked out. So I think there's sort of a myth around Steam sales being way better than console, but I think we've balanced out. That being said, you can play online games for free on a Steam machine, and on a PlayStation, you're going to be spending $110 a year.
That is brutal.
A lot of money. That's a game and a half.
Another big benefit, though, I mean, we touched on this, but accessory support. Nintendo's not the only one that keeps things locked down with respect to plugging things into their consoles. I mean, for years.
I said this, and I did not know that PlayStation memberships per year was $110. That's egregious. I got a PC right now. I'm not paying nothing to play online because I use Steam and I use certain other apps that they can't charge a PC player anything. They can't charge you no membership. Xbox, if I buy the game on the Xbox app, I don't have to have a membership. I don't think. I could be wrong. I haven't used it in a while. I don't know. If I have an Xbox, I gotta pay for Xbox Live. When you got a PC, you can't do that. You can't charge us. Steam already cornered the market for that. Yo, this is how we gonna get our money? Charge y'all for putting y'all game on our shit. And every other launcher, every other platform that has their game and they selling it to PC players, they gotta do the same thing. And shit, a lot of them just go through Steam because Steam is a bigger platform.
Entire brands that make gaming headsets, their only reason for existing at all was that they managed to get the license to produce compatible Xbox gaming headsets.
Shout out Turtle Beach.
They were awful audio quality, like had no reason for existing other than licensing.
Even controllers, we're living through a renaissance in the PC space, but to find something good for the PlayStation 5 that has back paddles for less than $200, so impossible.
Yeah, we're actually, shout out David's upcoming video. We're doing a modding video on the stock DualSense to add paddles to it.
So excited.
Gonna be pretty freaking cool. I don't even know if I care about bringing this up, but there is one thing the PS5 does that the Steam Machine for now doesn't, and that's VR.
Yeah, I'm not a big
Nobody cares about VR.
VR.
Nobody cares about VR. VR is not good enough. Let's talk about VR a little bit. Virtual reality, when it was first introduced, when I first saw it in real life, most notably, it was the Xbox One and the PS5 or the PS4, one of those systems. You get a little camera and you put on a little thing and you... VR, when we picture VR, we picture Sword Art Online, we picture Ready Player One, If it's not doing that, it's not going to encapsulate us, because that's the strongest example that we have seen that made us dream about virtual reality. Those were the things that made us dream about that. If nothing is at that quality, virtual reality is just not going to be a thing. Because without virtual reality, these games that we have right now, they exceed and release the type of dopamine that we need, that virtual reality in its current state is not going to do. So until y'all figure that out, nobody cares about VR.
Guy.
I don't think most PlayStation gamers are right now.
No, they have like, what, 12 games?
I don't think there will ever be another PSVR.
No. I mean, the other white elephant in the room is the custom PC you build in a white case. Literally tomorrow, we have a video coming out where we build a PC for the price of the Steam Machine to compare performance.
I think we're going to see better value. I think we're going to see better upgradability and serviceability. We're going to see better performance.
We're going to have to talk about it tomorrow.
I know I shouldn't be that surprised, but the performance really was a downer for me.
I think if they hadn't made the 4K 60 promise, it would be a little less painful.
Or if they had left the door open for Steam Machine Pro. Like if I knew there was going to be something based on a 9070 coming that would be the legitimate 4K machine, then I think we'd be having a really different conversation.
Or eGPU support, maybe.
The Steam Machine Pro is going to be $2,000. That's probably going to come out next. Under these marketing conditions, it would have to come out in the next year to the max. If Valve and Steam plans on selling this product and keep selling this product, that item, the Steam Pro, will have to drop in 1 year. 2 years max deadline. Can't go further than that.
Some way to upgrade more than just the RAM and SSD.
Okay, we've spent a lot of time harping on the price, but what would be the right price? What's the no hesitation, I'd buy one tomorrow price?
Me, or I recommend to people?
You recommend.
$800 I think is reasonable. It's slightly worse performance than a console, but it has so much more openness and features that I think balances out that value.
Yeah, I mean, we barely even touched on the fact that you can use it as a full-fledged desktop PC. Like, they have done a lot of work, not just on the big picture gaming aspect of SteamOS. I'm actually planning to, once we get the real Steam Machine back from labs, throw it in my backpack and use it as my daily driver machine for a month.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Yeah. So I'll have to do everything, gaming and work on it. And it's actually portable enough that you just could. Portable.
Portal. Do you want to hear something that's really sad?
I do.
I asked them specifically, what was the original price point in mind for the Steam Machine? And they're like, I can't give you that, but if you look at the price increase of the Steam Deck, that tells you what we were targeting for, and that's about a $200 price increase. So we would have hit our price if it wasn't.
Do you think it's still going to sell anyway?
It'll sell a certain amount to the Valve diehards. I think that there's enough people out there that are like, I believe in this, I want to support this. I don't think it's going to cross into the mainstream, even to the level of the Steam Deck. I think the Steam Deck's greatest strength was that it was a really slick console-like experience for a really aggressive.
Hey, you know what? I agree with this. I agree that it's not going to hit the mainstream like the Steam Deck. I've actually seen people with the Steam Deck. They actually spent money on it. And it's out there. Believe it or not, the Steam Deck is out there. This is a premium product. I don't think it's going to sell like that. I think people that have the money, that want it, that want to experiment and really crack open this thing, they're going to buy it. But other than that, it got its foot in the door. It showed people some new things. It showed people a new reality that what can happen in the future for PCs, for consoles, for the PS6, for the Xbox Project Helix. This shows a preview of what those things are going to do, because I don't think those systems are going to neglect that PC portion, that desktop having portion of what this Steam Machine does. They can completely X out this system, get it right out the market.
Price, and this is not an aggressive price. This is a enthusiast price.
I hate the words you're saying, but I think I accept them. For now, if RAM pricing were to normalize, I suspect mostly good guy Valve would make adjustments to the pricing. I can just also understand their perspective that they can't just operate this thing at a loss. And
do you think scalpers are still gonna jump all over this thing?
yeah.
And then I hope they get stuck with it forever.
One thing I would never hope they get stuck with is a sponsor like dbrand. They've done everything to me, from wasting my time to making me stick my arm in a terrible, horrible trap. But you gotta give them credit where it's due. They really knocked it out of the park with this one. It could have just been a skin, but no. They put in the extra effort, and manufacturing something this detailed at this scale is more complicated than you guys probably think. All you gotta do is use the included embedded Allen key to pop the back panel off, and then start assembling your Steam Machine inside the case. And once you've got the case open, Dbrand didn't miss any details here. They added these rubber strips on the inside to make sure that your machine...
Alright, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. I finally saw the Linus review, and Linus said a lot of the things that I said in my review, not review, but my review of a review, and I gave my take on that. He let me know a few things that I didn't know. Yes, the machine did get, he was given a review that isn't liked. It's not a high review. It's probably a 6 out of 10 review because of the price, because of the timing. 7 out of 10 because of what it actually can do besides gaming. I don't know, but let's get to 10,000 subscribers. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'm out of here, man.